It's time to talk. Here we go. Hello. And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk with Carl E. Long. I'm your boy Carl E. Long, coming from the 214 in Dallas, Texas. And welcome to my podcast, episode 43. Yes, this is episode 43 of the podcast. Getting ready to go on vacation here this week, so I'm excited. So I thought I'd get an episode in before I started traveling. Because there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, guys. It's been going on. So today's podcast is MAGA is mad. The Trump base is retaliating. Can you believe it? We actually had a breakthrough of some sort where they actually are holding him accountable for something. Can you believe that? MAGA is mad. And they're still mad. And I honestly cannot believe it. I mean, here we have been with this guy we know that is a blatant liar, a blatant racist. He does all this stuff, but nobody holds him accountable. And he seems to get everything he wants, and he doesn't do it in the right way. It's not a nice guy. Let's just put it like that. But he has a base that will stand behind him no matter what he says or does. I'm kind of thinking, what is it that's going to get them outraged? I got to a point where it's like, what is going to get them outraged? So, we found something. And it starts with the name E and it ends with the name Epstein. Yeah, that's what it is. We have found something that has outraged his base. The Epstein files. Yes, they're going crazy. So you know what? I thought that I would probably want to think about if you know what all of the conspiracy theories there are in the Trump dinosphere, or whatever you want to call that. The MAGA movement. And I thought I'd just refresh your memory on these are the things that the Trump people are very, very passionate about. And I wouldn't say all of them. There's some that might be having some legitimate conservative thinking and just so tribal that they can't find themselves to vote for anybody else, even though he does all the wrong things. But I want to show you, these are the MAGA conspiracy theories that are known, just to brush you up so you understand what they believe in and why this nut of people, and I say that being a hard shell group of people, this hard shell nut that you cannot break, because these people don't hold him accountable for anything. And quite frankly, it's ruining the American people. It's ruining America. It's ruining everything, because we have this megalomaniac, Donald Trump, in all of his years, has always wanted to be president, and by golly, he got to be president. Seems like he gets whatever he wants, no matter what. He's going to hold that temper tantrum no matter what, and he's getting it. You wonder how these kind of people exist, but they're here. So let's just go through some of their theories. All right. So the Make America Great Again voting base, primarily composed of strong supporters of Donald Trump, includes a segment that subscribes to various conspiracy theories. Not all MAGA voters believe in these theories, but a vocal and influential minority do, and some have gained traction in right-wing media. So one of the first one is the 2020 election was stolen. Y'all know that one. They watched their belief that Joe Biden stole the election, voter fraud. There's been controversy on that, dozens of court cases. He lost all of them. And then that whole thing was fueled by the January 6th Capitol riots, right? Okay, that's one. Number two, the deep state, a secret unelected group of bureaucrats, intelligent officials, and global elites control the United States government behind the scene, sabotaging Trump and conservative policies. This one is often used to explain unfavorable outcomes. So if they don't win or anything like that, they go to this deep state. The lack tangible evidence, but appeals to the populist distrust of institutions. That's number 2. And then there's the number 3, the QAnon. Their belief that a global cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles, including Democrats, celebrities, and elites, secretly run the world, and Trump is fighting to defeat them. And this is a fantastical and extreme classified by the FBI as a potential domestic terrorism threat. Those are the QAnons. I'm telling you, this is what's behind MAGA. And then there was the COVID-19 hoaxes. Y'all remember that? They believed that COVID was a pandemic released intentionally, or its severity was exaggerated to control the population to hurt Trump's re-elections. Vaccines contain microchips or change your DNA. Those are the variants. And Dr. Fauci helped engineer the virus. Yeah, that's one of the others. Number 5, the Great Replacement Theory. Belief that there's a deliberate plan by the Democrats and globalists to replace white Americans with immigrants to secure permanent political control. Controversy promotes the white nationalist ideology, has inspired real-world violence. For example, the Buffalo mass shooting. This is the stuff that's putting these crazies out there. This is what they believe. And then number 6, January 6th was a setup. The FBI or Antifa orchestrated the Capitol riot to frame Trump's supporters, contradicted by video evidence. Oh my God. And then there's number 7, Hunter Biden's laptop. The Biden is a crime family. They believe that Hunter Biden's laptop proves criminal activity and corruption involving Joe Biden. While some elements have been verified, Hunter's business ties, the broader crime family narrative often includes unfounded or exaggerated claims. Then there's the one that started it all. Number 8, Obama was not born in the U.S. Belief: Barack Obama was born in Kenya and was ineligibly president. He was one of the most prominent voices promoting this false claim. That's Trump. He started that. Number 9, climate change is a hoax. They don't believe in this stuff. Global warming is exaggerated or fabricated to justify government overreach and destroy American industry. Now, this is rejected by 97 plus of climate scientists. MAGA-aligned media often dismisses it as globalist propaganda, no matter how many hurricanes we have, okay? And then number 10, George Soros controls everything. Billionaire philanthropist George Soros secretly funds protests, open borders, election interference to destabilize the U.S. I can't think of he's doing that, but I can think of another billionaire that might be doing that. Its name starts with E and ends with Musk. Anti-Semitic undertones. So not every MAGA supporter believes these ideas, but there are many that have amplified these right-wing ideologicals, algorithms, and partisan news outlets. These conspiracy theories often thrive where there's institutional distrust, fear of demographic change, or perceived cultural differences. So guys, this is what's behind the MAGA movement, all that crazy. And if you think about all those crazies that I've done, a lot of the laws and policies that are being derived are coming right into that. I mean, they're getting rid of all of climate change. They're thinking that anything that is of the Democratic elite, Harvard University, they're going after that stuff. So this is the crazy stuff that we deal with, that we are dealing with. So let's just put that back up here as a chart. So we have the 2020 election was stolen, the deep state, the QAnon, the COVID-19, the Great Replacement Theory. January 6th was a setup. Hunter Biden's laptop. He has all the crime information on there. Obama wasn't born in the U.S. and climate change is a hoax, and billionaire George Soros controls everything. Yeah. People believe this stuff. People believe this stuff. Unfortunately, they do. So when I said that MAGA was mad, they are mad because one of their big conspiracy theories was on the Jeffrey Epstein case. So let's just talk about that. The Jeffrey Epstein case and associated conspiracy theories are deeply controversial and intersect with the both mainstream public concern and MAGA-aligned narratives, though belief that Epstein-related theories span across the political spectrum, not just MAGA voters. So there's some people that think he did some horrible stuff. Okay, we know that. Here's where the Epstein falls in the MAGA world. They believe that Epstein's 2019 death in jail, officially ruled a suicide, as we know, was actually murder to silence him before he could expose powerful elites involved in sex trafficking. Okay. Epstein had ties to numerous high-profile figures like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump, and others. Security cameras malfunctioned and guards fell asleep during his death. Okay? So the MAGA people, they think that in these Epstein files, they're going to find things on Bill Clinton and all kinds of things here. And they think that all these Democratic elites are being just like shielded from showing it, and they are in these files. Now, Trump, when he was doing his campaign, he campaigned, I'm going to release the Epstein files and da-da-da. I mean, it was one of his biggest talking points, and that was like gravy to the MAGA people. So now that he's doing that and then coming back and said, why is everybody all wanting to see there's nothing there, the man is dead? So he's just changed this whole tune, and they're going, no, buddy. You campaigned on this. You campaigned on this. You're not going to just throw us away like that. So they're mad. So, controversy. Theories often ignore or downplay Trump's own ties to Epstein, including social visits in the early 2000s. Some on the far right push broader claims that Epstein was part of a larger child trafficking ring protected by globalist elites overlapping with QAnon ideology. So they want blood. But the reason they want blood, not because they think Trump is in there, because they think there's a lot of Democrat elite people that are in there. You know, all of these stars and left-wing Antifas and all kinds. That's what they're thinking. And it's just not there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. So the Epstein conspiracy theories are a bridge between legitimate concerns, MAGA-aligned distrust of elites, and fringe benefits like QAnon. It's one of the few conspiracy theories with bipartisan interest. The liberals, we want to talk about it because it focuses on all elites involved, including Trump and Wall Street figures, and whatever happened to these girls and what happened. We want to know the truth. Now the MAGA, they're focused on Clinton and Hollywood and liberal elites. They want to get everybody that's ever came out. They want to get the Beyoncés. They want to get the Taylor Swift. They want to get anybody that might be listed in there that's a Democrat. So this is why they're upset, guys, all about this Epstein crap. But you know what? All I know is the man is dead. I know that he was a very horrible man, and there was some child trafficking and pedophilia going on, and I think that I don't know where the cases are going or what's happening with that whole thing, but I think some truth needs to be told about it. You know, nobody wants to sit back and let these girls get exposed, but why they're not releasing these, we don't know. So I am going to play you a parade of the MAGA people that are upset. These are MAGA right-wingers and podcasters and everybody else, and let you hear just what some of them are saying. We'll start off with this one right here. Here we go.
I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because I have integrity.
Donald Trump just said that his own MAGA supporters are weaklings who believe in bullshit and that he doesn't want your support anymore. He says scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. So now it's a motherfucking hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and possibly never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years.
Okay, I'm pausing right there just to tell you, this is what Trump put out on Truth Social that drove the MAGA right upset. He basically is telling them to shut up, be quiet. He's calling them all kinds of names. And they didn't take it. They're not taking it. This is my guy here from TikTok. I can't remember his name. I'll let you know. Oh, he is called Mentally Divine. Yeah, he's on TikTok, but let's go.
The tantrum continues. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings, yes, MAGA, he's talking to you, continue forward and do the Democrats' work because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for the attention to this matter. Make America great again. MAGA's not taking it well. Listen to what MAGA's saying. I've been a loyal Trump supporter since 2016. I lost a job, friendships been smeared online, doxxed, and pressed charges on people who stalked and harassed me for supporting him. If Trump doesn't want my support because I care about the Epstein files, then I'm done. Bye. Or this other poster that said, I accept your terms, Mr. President. You don't want my support? It won't be given. I'm out. And others, some of the biggest MAGA conspiracy theorists, QAnon people, Alex Jones is about to throw up, literally because he's figuring out in real time that the person who he supported is actually in the Epstein files himself.
Why don't they know this stuff? I mean, this is kind of crazy, guys. Why don't they know this stuff? And these are grown men. These are grown men who can't really discern the truth. And it's alarming. It's alarming. All right, so let's go to our next upset reel. Here we go.
The MAGA manosphere is going through quite some ordeals right now. And I think we just need to go through all of these videos together and dissect them. Let's first listen to Andrew Schultz.
When Trump, everything he campaigned on, I believe he wanted to do. And now he's doing the exact opposite thing of every single fucking thing.
I don't know what he's done. Yeah, exactly to your point. If you tell me, it's easier for me to believe you wanted to do all these things if any of them were happening in the way that you said they were.
To that point, like there'll be people that like they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that.
Okay, Andrew, you voted for a convicted felon that tried to overturn the federal government. Let's just start there. So any form of logic that you had after what we all saw with our own eyes on January 6th, anything that you saw after that is just you bending and not wanting to vote for another side, not wanting to hear the truth, caving to this toxic masculinity in this, we're going to deport everybody and we're going to be tough and we're going to make America great. It's all bullshit. The only thing Trump ran on were lies. And he lied to everybody, and dumb people fell for it. And the main reason that he lied is to prevent himself from going to prison and to shut down investigations into him that probably would have led to incarceration and bankruptcy. And if you can't see that when it's happening in real time and you lean into your caveman impulses and you believed a man who is droning on about Hannibal Lecter, who is can't answer what his plans are for healthcare, all he talked about was mass deportation. And if you're going to join a man who his fundamental campaign promise is demonizing people that are in this country, some legally, some illegally. But that's his number one focus, is to demonize him in the most ugly, horrific ways. This is what you're going to get. But I don't know how you teach somebody like you, who clearly you're not a dumb fuck, but you fell for all this bullshit propaganda. And Trump waltzes onto your podcast and puts on a charm offensive. And then you think, yep, this is my guy. I'm going to vote for him. Yet all of the other red flags that everybody on the planet saw, we didn't ignore. And now here you are. Here you are with a guy who is facilitating more wars, deporting the wrong people, brazen economic.
All right, so she makes a great point. Why isn't it they don't see all the flags that we have? I'm trying to put myself in that position. Would I ever be in such a position where I'm so blinded as a Democrat that they're doing the wrong things that I can't see? I mean, they tried to make us that way when there was this big push to say that Democrats think that black votes are a given and they don't have to work for our votes. I heard that argument, but I didn't feel it. I don't think that was me being blind, because it doesn't matter if they're wooing us the correct way or not. They still have the issues for my interest, so it doesn't matter. You know, it's not a given that they have our votes. We're not dummies. We know what we're voting for. We're voting our interest. So that, to me, is not something that we needed to wake up. And so we had a lot of people that were dissenting and leaving the Democratic Party because, especially black people, saying that they just assume that they have our vote. Did you remember when Joe Biden said the thing on Charlemagne the God's on the Breakfast Club? If you're black and you're not voting for me, then you must not be black. That thing right there didn't go through with the African-American community. Well, I knew what Joe was trying to say when he said that. I knew what he was trying to say, and I wasn't offended by it at all. It made a lot of sense because he was just trying to say, if you believe in all the stuff that he's doing, you're going to vote for that guy? There's no way you're black and voting for that. I got that, Joe. So you didn't offend me at all. So here we go. More MAGA rage. Why aren't these people? This is so crazy to me that they're upset about this. This is really crazy. It's kind of different. Here we go.
Pam Bondi needs to be fired. Who is rolling this out? The little rascals?
Pam Bondi has definitely made multiple inconsistent statements, and I'm sorry, but she does not deserve the benefit of my good opinion, and I'm not prepared to give it to her.
They're covering up. The DOJ, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes. Very serious crimes by their own description. Why are they doing that?
Is she stupid? Is she so click thirsty that she got out over her skis trying to make news, being a Fox News star? It's either that or she's a liar.
People are absolutely not going to accept just a memo that was written that says there is no client list.
It's not about just a pedophile ring and all that. This is about who governs us, right? For this to go away, you're going to lose 10% of the MAGA movement. If we lose 10% of the MAGA movement right now, we're going to lose 40 seats in 26.
That is, I think, what is enraging people right now is it's insulting our intelligence. Like, obviously, the intelligence community is trying to cover it up.
My name is Pam Bondi, and I'm the Attorney General of the United States. But I'm Pam Bondi, the best Attorney General you've ever seen in this country, and I'm going to hold these people accountable.
And Pam Bondi brought me to the White House and handed me a stack of papers. And I got to tell you, folks, it was about as valuable as a bunch of blank pages. It was baloney. It was a binder of absolute baloney. And Pam, if you can't do your job, we'll find someone who will.
There's no client list. Never existed. Pam Bondi just lied and said she had one. What?
Make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation? It looks like it's going to be, and now this is like the who's going to be off the island first, right? This is who's going to be voted off the island first. I don't know what to believe on that.
Epstein is a key that picks the lock on so many things, not just individuals, but also institutions, intelligence institutions, foreign governments, and who is working with him on our intelligence apparatus and in our government. This is why it's a time for choosing now.
So here's the question that I have. So they think that Jeffrey Epstein was some kind of super spy that had everybody in the world who was important just with him. Was he that smart of a guy? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And they want it so bad because Steve Bannon just said there, he's the key. Jeffrey Epstein, he's dead. What is he the key of? Just because he had princes hanging with him and all kinds of people. He had people hanging with him because he was a party animal and he had money, and people tend to flock around these billionaires. But the key? You people are just delusional if you think this is what you want. And this is the one thing that's going to make you hold Trump accountable. Some bull crap. That makes no sense. The man needs to go to justice. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail right now with her sentence, So there was some justice, but what you guys are, this is just crazy. It really is crazy, and they look even dumber. They look even dumber. I'm talking MAGA. By all of a sudden, y'all are rallying around together. Where are the Epstein files? Where are the Epstein files? It looks really ridiculous. Okay, here's another one. Let's see what they're saying.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marla's?
She's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, you know, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I standing there with no...
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Prince Andrew answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean...
You are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
But this is not funny to me. This is not funny. Trump is, I mean, all the stuff that he's been around when he owned the Miss Universe and Miss USA pageant. I mean, you're just like giving a man a candy store. He's just a sleazeball. I didn't even realize, I hadn't really looked at that clip as closely as I just did. But man, he's a sleazeball. I mean, talking about his own daughter like that? He's always done that. That's just sleazy to me. But that's our president. And they don't see, that doesn't seem to bother them, that that's the kind of man that we have in office. That's the kind of man we have in office, guys. Yes, we do. Wow. That was not a good B-roll that I just played there. That was some really, really, really horrible stuff on our president. And that was all factual stuff. Nothing made up, nothing, compromised or changed. Those were actual words that he said. And it's sad. It's very sad. All right. So enough of the Epstein deal. So that's why they're mad. They're mad about that thing. And Trump is trying everything he can to change the narrative. He's talking about Rosie O'Donnell. He's talking about the Martin Luther King files. But they won't leave it alone. He's trying to get them to leave it alone, and they won't. They're going to keep it going. I love that. And Democrats, y'all play right into that hand. We don't care about them like they do, but play right into that hand of the Epstein files. We're going to play that hand right along with you. Because if this is the thing that's going to make y'all tear away from him, then that's what we need. Because we need this man to be out of office soon. We got to stop these policies of his. We have to do everything that we can. If that means playing dirty by helping increase the narrative on Epstein, then so be it. That's the way I see it. Okay. All right. So now I have this grandpa who's speaking on the Republican Party. I love finding videos where I am seeing Anglo-American people who are trying to talk to their own people to get them to understand this MAGA thing ain't right. We ain't right. We're not doing right. And I love to share these with you just so you can hear. It's not me saying it, a black man. It's another Anglo brother or sister saying it. And I want you to hear them say it. And these are real people talking and sharing their thoughts on what's going on as while we're in this Trump era. So I call this one Grandpa Speaks on the Republican Makeup. Here we go.
We spend so much time talking about Trump, we forget who the real culprits are. The Republicans, the grand old party. They're not just helpless little sheep who need Trump to keep their jobs. I mean, sure, there is that. But what we don't talk about enough is that they support what Trump is all about, big time. Project 2025, that's the manifesto of the Republican Party. They have hated the progressive changes in America ever since FDR passed Social Security back in 1935. Then you jump forward 30 years, and LBJ passed a tsunami of progressive reforms, and that's when Republicans changed tactics. They've been playing the long game ever since, and playing it well. They know that if everyone voted, they would never win another election. And that's why the red states make it so hard to vote. It's why the hard right Roberts Supreme Court struck down the Voting Rights Act. And finally, it's like they were waiting for a Trump to come along. Trump was somehow able to say out loud what other Republicans believed but couldn't say, and he became a useful tool. Having him hold their political futures in his hand was a small price to pay for the changes he could make possible. These were true believers. These guys, and mostly they are guys, white guys, they believe in laissez-faire capitalism, survival of the fittest, dog eat dog, and with it the greatest transfer of wealth in our nation's history. We are becoming an oligarchy, and too many of us are okay with that. The welfare queens of the Reagan years have given way to the immigrants of today. So for Republicans, it's back to the good old days when if things went south, you could just move in with your grown children. And if you got sick, really sick, you were fucked. Or as the Republicans like to put it, let's make America great again.
I love him. And he made one great point. There are more Democrats in this country. If we would all vote, if we would just get to the darn polls and vote, we could vote them out. But you see, they have got this gerrymandering. They have got the electoral college and everything. I mean, there's not that many of them. They're just louder, and they are dirtier and underhanded, and it works. And they are still running this country, and we can't seem to figure out a way to stop them. Interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. Because, the high and mighty and the people that try to do the right thing, we get bogged down. But, and they make fun of Democrats when they try to talk and use some of the same tactics because it's just not them. They're really not those kind of people. They're like making fun of the Gavin Newsoms that are cussing and the people that are just going and, Beto O'Rourke is cussing and just people are coming out and Mark Schiff. It's just whatever. And you know what? I was like, have at it. Have at it. We got to fight fire with fire because this is to save this American Republic. And if by this time it's by any means necessary, just about, because I don't know if we can take 4 years of this. I don't know that we can take 4 years of what he is doing to this country. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's scary. And so much of it is wrong. I pray all the time this man has a change of heart. Because right now, he's so much into himself. It's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch. And very hard to live inside of it. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Here's a MAGA woman who has found out that although she's been listening to news outlets and things, she's not getting the truth. Really? Yeah. Listen to this. This is good.
So 12 years ago, I was a lifelong born and bred Republican. I didn't believe fact checkers. I thought they were all biased and stuff. Well, one day, somebody on my Facebook page made a post, and I don't even remember what it was, but I was sure they were wrong because it went against everything I was told as a Republican. Excuse me. And so I was going to prove them wrong, but I wanted to know exactly what I was talking about, so I did the research, and I found out I was wrong. So I started thinking maybe I'm wrong about other things. I don't know. So I started researching other political topics, and I found out sometimes, or a lot of times, there's articles that support both sides. So which one's telling the truth, right? So I didn't believe fact-checking, non-biased fact checkers. I didn't believe they were non-biased. I thought they were all lying. So I took a fact-checking tutorial myself. and I started fact checking a lot of things. And you know what I found out? I found out that while both sides may lie some, Republicans lie a whole lot more and a whole lot bigger, like way bigger, crazy stuff. So that's what I found out. Now, Democrats sometimes may not always be truthful, but most of the time it's just like an exaggeration, or they could even be off on numbers. Seriously, they don't lie as much and they don't lie as big at all. And I also found out that, one of the biggest things for me was finding out that there was welfare for the rich. I was raised to believe, we shouldn't be funding these poor people, I found out we're giving billionaires money. That's crazy. We're giving billionaires money in handouts in the form of subsidies and tax breaks. And sometimes like Warren Buffett's come out and said that one time he paid less in taxes than his secretary. That's crazy, y'all. And yeah, that was one of the big things to me that took me from being a Republican to a Democrat. Not saying they don't cater some to billionaires, but nothing like freaking Republicans do. Nothing like Republicans do. And then abortion was hard for me, though, because, I was all pro-life and everything. But I did two things, and it really changed my mindset on abortion. So one of the things I did is I looked up what happens in countries that outlaw abortion. Well, guess what? It's not pretty at all. You're talking about overrun state orphanages, and you're talking about a lot of misery. And it doesn't even stop abortion. It just stops safe abortion. And then the other thing I did is I looked up, reasons that people get abortions. And I read a lot of their stories. And there was a lot of stories that I don't know what I would do if I was in their place. Luckily, I've never been in their situations. And then that's when I decided it was none of my business what somebody else does with their body. So those were the two biggest things for me. There's a lot bigger now. I understand now, I was taught from a young age, you just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Yeah, well, bootstraps can't take that kind of weight sometimes and they break. It's not always that easy. There's people out here that are busting their butt in 2 jobs and they can't even get enough to live on. And then, God forbid that they are making it and something happened, they get a cancer diagnosis, they break a leg. I mean, just anything that puts them off of work for any amount of time. And the next thing you know, they're homeless. Not everybody has family or friends they can fall back on. So it's really opened my eyes. And I highly suggest that everybody, because there is so much misinformation out there, that everybody take a fact-checking tutorial. I won't tell you which one to take. You can Google fact-checking tutorial and just pick one. And start fact-checking. And I swear to you, it doesn't really take that long, and it gets easier the more you do it. If you don't, then you're just picking which things you like the best. You're just picking news by your bias. You're just picking what you want to believe because there is so much misinformation out there. Take a fact-checking tutorial. And if that don't make you a Democrat, I'll be surprised. I really be surprised. So many, and that might be enough to scare people, but so many Republicans are voting against their own best interest. And that's sad. That is really sad. But if you're making less than, $400,000 a year, I believe, and you're voting Republican, you're most definitely voting against your own best interest. But don't take my word for it. Take a fact-checking tutorial and start fact checking things. You'll see. Have a great day.
So there's one woman who took it upon herself. Let's do some research. And she found out, oh, hell, that's not right. And y'all notice she said that Republicans lie way more and way bigger. This isn't me saying it, Carl. That was a white lady, a white, normal woman who figured things out for herself. Now that makes me wonder and believe how she says people pick their biases. They pick things. What is wrong with the people? Why can't people research for themselves? I see so much misinformation out here. I was like, we live in an era where you can find just about anything, truth, that you want it to. It's if you want it. This is getting so polarizing in our culture here right now. And I'm so glad that there is a revelation coming amongst my Anglo brothers and sisters. Y'all got to get out of this funk and find the truth. We got to rid our country of all of this negativity and things that are no longer viable in this country. And let's move this country forward together like it's supposed to. So that was very good. I really like that. I really like what she said there, and I'm glad that she realized that. So maybe she'll spew. Oh, something else I noticed. Every time I see, this is something that I'm just kind of putting together. Every time I see an Anglo-American brother or sister who have had this revelation, it's always, whenever the women do it, they're always walking way, like they're walking or they're jogging. It's as if they couldn't say this in their own home, so they have to go far away. That's an interesting dynamic to see, and I've seen it consistent of these ladies that are confessing their change or their, or they're getting their revelation of what really is right. And that's kind of interesting dynamic to note, that they probably can't even be around their families anymore because they're changing. Yeah, because this stuff is inbred into people and into families. All right, so now my dear girl Joy Reid is giving us some good information on Clarence Thomas that I did not know. Historical information on why this man is a black man from the South who has turned his back on his own people, pretty much. But this says a lot. Listen to Joy Reid on giving us some historical information on Justice Clarence Thomas. Here we go.
Clarence Thomas was born in Pinpoint, Georgia. He is of the Gullah extraction.
Yep.
He didn't even speak English until he was 7 years old. He spoke the Geechee tongue and was so afraid to speak in front of white people because he was always told, don't speak Geechee in front of white people because it would embarrass you, that he almost never spoke at all. There was a white nun, whose largesse helped get him through school and get him those good grades. He has been assisted by white patrons, really his whole life, even now by very rich ones, as they fly him around the country. And to your very point, he seems to deeply resent all of the assistance he got, and he wants to make sure that nobody like him ever gets that kind of help again, because it helps his self-image so that he can lie to himself and fool himself and maybe hate himself a little less for having gotten help all along his path to the Supreme Court. And let's be clear, the most important thing to know about his confirmation, other than the fact that he's accused credibly of sexual misconduct, is the polling that got him over the line. And it was the polling that I very much remember. I was one of the few black folk who was against him. It was the polling that showed that about 7 in 10 black people supported his ascension to the seat once held by the great Thurgood Marshall, and he is not his equal. It was black people's support that got wavering members of that Judiciary Committee
Democrats,
and wavering senators.
They needed Democratic votes. It was a Democratic
Correct.
majority. That's why Joe Biden is in those hearings running. They needed the Democratic votes.
And it was only black people's support in those polls that got wavering Democrats.
I did not know that. I did not know. I remember the Clarence Thomas hearings with Anita Hill and whatever. And But we didn't know, and when Joy said that, we didn't know much about his political belief or where we thought he was going to go. All I knew, there was a man that was accused of sexual harassment, which I didn't agree with at all. But I didn't know his politics, which we should know his politics because he's going to be a justice. But we're finding out real quick he has some politics. Whether he wants to believe that, he always votes. He always votes. I mean, maybe there's a couple of times that he hasn't, when they've all voted together, he's in that number. But in most cases, whenever there is a liberal leaning law of any sort, he's never voted. He votes against civil rights. He votes against any of those things. He votes against it. And I didn't know that he came from the Gullah Geechee people. And those are the people that were on an island outside South Carolina, I believe. And they had a different dialect because they didn't have, because that island wasn't meant for growing anything. They landed a lot of slaves there, and they ended up starting their own little society, and they had their own little dialect because they weren't really around regular Americans, and they were not getting Americanized like other slaves were. So he had this Gullah Geechee. If you ever get a chance, look it up on something and listen to their dialect. It's really strange strange dialect. I mean, it's like another language, and that's interesting to know that dynamic on Dear Clarence Thomas. Something to think about, right? Yeah. Okay. So coming up next is something from the Positive Podcast. Some thoughts on what's going on with the whole Trump administration. Let's listen in.
They do not think black and brown people deserve the same level of wealth or access to wealth or equal footing to access even a livable wage as they do. This is the absolute through line, and it is a problem that we've had in the United States of America from the jump. But use faith to manipulate religious Americans into thinking that they're on your side, and they're not. The Republican Party and the MAGA movement is a death cult that values profits over people. They've done it for decades. Now it's just more brazen. If you still buy into this thoughts and prayers bullshit, I don't know that you can be helped.
No, I don't either. And what I look at is they're cutting all of these funding for all of these agencies of National Weather Service, all of these things that keep people safe. Where is the money going? Are we ever going to see the money? Because we see that taxes are going to go up for the middle class. Oligarchs are going to make more money. What are they doing?
Now that's something that's scary too, right there. It's because of the religious, the white evangelicals. I mean, I'm really rethinking how Christians are presenting themselves in this whole environment. And they're standing behind some things that just doesn't seem anything like Jesus. I'll put that name out there. So some of the stuff that the church is doing, it's not good, y'all. I'm gonna have to do a whole series on just that. It's not good on what some of these white evangelical churches are backing. Yeah. It's alarming. It's alarming for any pastor of any evangelical church to stand up and say that Trump has done this and this, and he has all this stuff behind him, 34 felonies, and does this and does. How can you back a guy like this? A guy that says 2 Corinthians. How can you back a guy like this? I don't know, but that's alarming. All right. So, meanwhile, here is some information I found on the floods that recently were in Texas, and how, back when I was giving you the MAGA conspiracy theories, one of them is that they think climate change is a hoax. And here's a flood incident that happened in Texas, and we have floods, but some of this stuff is getting to be way different than what we're used to seeing, and climate change has a lot to do with a lot of this stuff. But you will never get a Republican to ever buy into anything when it comes to climate change. They'd rather see us get destroyed. So this is a cover-up where there were people, the government was trying to get money to Texas to get, well, they actually gave them money to Texas to get this flood zone, corrected and made it more safer. and they repeatedly did not use the money accordingly. This is strange to me. Let's listen to this.
Yes, Kerr County residents spoke out against using money from the Biden administration to shore up its warning system to better alert residents and visitors about flooding. And ultimately, county commissioners decided to use that money elsewhere. Hey there, I'm Brandy. I'm a journalist in Texas, and here's what we know. I broke down the county's 2016 request to the state that got denied. You can find that video in the playlist at the bottom of your screen. But the Texas Tribune did a really phenomenal job breaking down all of the times in the past decade that the county has talked about needing better storm-related infrastructure. And one of the things this article talks about is that in 2021, Kerr County got about $10 million as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. That money coming from the Biden administration did not sit well with a lot of residents who voted overwhelmingly for Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Some even asked the county if it could return that $10 million. Instead, the county commissioners, again, ultimately decided to use the money in a different way. It dumped $7 million into a public safety radio communication system for the sheriff's office and fire services, and gave raises to sheriff's office employees. The rest of the money went to more county positions and building a new walking path. As a result, on one of the busiest holiday weekends of the year, when campgrounds and summer camps along the Guadalupe were packed, there were no sirens to tell people that a wall of water was headed their way. Some woke up to the warnings from the National Weather Service, but hundreds didn't make it out in time. We're talking about 96 confirmed dead in Kerr County. And the sheriff says 161 people are still missing. If you want to read that article in the Texas Tribune, I've got it here, along with an article with resources about how you can help.
So there you go. Okay, so what does it matter? This is what I say when bipartisan support. Often when Texas is sent money from whenever there's a Democrat in power, our dear Governor Abbott, he never does what he's supposed to do with the money. They don't want to work together. He wants nobody ever to say that he took money from Biden and he did this and did that. This is stupid stuff, and they're playing politics with lives. That just made me upset right there, because here we have, they were given $10 million to do some work on those river bottoms to get those things up to par. But they just blatantly just spent the money everywhere else. That makes me mad. And she's a reporter with the Texas Tribune, the lady that just spoke. So I'm sure she's done her research and has backup to her claim. Wow. That makes me mad. Makes me very upset. Lord help us. All right. Meanwhile, in Rockland County, New York, where the voting is being challenged by a lawsuit and the federal judge is a recount going on, let's listen to my friend here from TikTok speak on what's going on in Rockland County, New York. Here we go.
I got an issue with this Rockland County, New York situation here that's gotten my attention. So let me get this straight. There are 0 votes for her in one county. In one county, 0 votes for her. And all the votes went to him. But the historical voting patterns show from 92, Clinton won it by +5. He won it again in 96 by +20. Gore won it by +17 in 2000. Bush 0.72 points, but still you had blue votes going to the opponent. And now you're telling me ever since Obama, now in 2024, 0, zilch, none went to the Democrats? So the down ballot seats that Democrats won for Harris were 92%, but then it flips with an anomaly at the top of the ticket with 0 ballots. And what's interesting about this is the same drop-off of this anomaly in Rockland County is seen in every single swing stick in our country. Yeah, so you did say it was rigged. I'll say this. According to global history, world history on this planet Earth, No dictator has been removed from office without violence, ever in history of this world. When the recount starts in these swing states, and it's demanded by the courts, you're going to see distraction after distraction after distraction after distraction. Just remember, truth has no party. Y'all be well.
Are y'all hearing that? I'm going to always talk about that. Rockland County, New York, there has been a federal district judge that has moved the case forward for a recount. Did y'all hear that? He just gave you all the trends of that particular county, where either it's a very blue county where it's Democrats always won, and if they lost, they still got votes. But come on, guys. Kamala got 0 votes in a Democratic county. 0. But everybody down ballot got 92% votes, but she got 0, zilch, as he says, nothing. This same pattern is in the swing states everywhere, which proves that there is an anomaly and somebody cheated. This is proof of stuff. So that Rockland County, guys, that Rockland County, once we get the results of that from a federal judge and they do the recount, they're going to go forward with other counties that have the same kind of anomaly. Because nobody will talk about this. Nobody will talk about this, and I don't know why. I don't know why anybody will talk about what has happened here. You know, everybody doesn't want to be considered a conspiracy theorist, and everybody don't want to talk about it, but this is not conspiracy. This is facts. Something happened in those elections. Trump didn't have these things to go about because there was nothing like that. He couldn't prove anything. These guys can prove some things. So let's just keep watching, and you're going to hear more about that Rockland County, New York recount. It's supposed to get processed in September, I think is when it's going to be. We'll get a word on what the final ruling will be on that county. So y'all stay tuned on that. All right, so I want to hear about Maxwell Frost, the congressman from Florida, who visited Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, they're building detention centers for immigrants, and they're calling it Alligator Alcatraz. Are these supposed to be? I mean, they're putting regular people in these things, guys, and this is just sad. Listen to Congressman Maxwell Frost give a description of what's going on after their visit to this detention center in Florida.
Hey everybody, I just left the Everglades internment camp, the Everglades detention facility for immigrants, and I gotta tell you that the conditions are horrible. These are people being caged. 32 people per cage. Only 3 toilets for a group of 32 grown men, and where they drink water is from the toilet. It's only a spigot that comes from the toilet, and that's where you also drink water. The food portions are horrible. It was very hot and warm within the actual tent where the cages are held. I saw people sweating, and they didn't let us walk fully in. They opened the door and let us look in, and people were yelling at us, "Help me, help me." I heard somebody in the back yell, "I'm a U.S. citizen." We're going to look into that. But something that really struck me is as we were walking away from those cages, they started chanting, "Libertad, libertad, libertad, freedom." And I saw people in those cages who look exactly like me. People my age. Every Floridian should be ashamed that our taxpayer money is being used for this. Terrorizing communities, putting people in an internment camp full of Latinos. And so I just wanted to do this report out fresh from leaving. We were in there for 2 hours. I will be back. We were able to get some clarification on the legal standing of the facility, but I can tell you this. They said that they're getting all their instructions from ICE. That is a federal detention center that is being run by the state. We are all allowed to go there unannounced whenever we want and see things how they actually are. So we'll keep everybody updated.
Oh boy. Alligator Alcatraz. And if y'all look at some of these raids that are going on, we're going to talk about some of those here in a minute. So, I mean, it's just so dehumanizing to see what's going on. And Latinos, I need y'all to look at these videos of those things that are going on. And all of you that voted for Trump, y'all need to think twice. We told y'all that he doesn't care anything about you guys. He doesn't care at all. He's playing games with y'all's lives, bargaining, giving you $1,000. So he doesn't care. Because part of the great conspiracy theory is they think that we're letting y'all come here so that y'all can outnumber them and win all the political races. So they want you gone. Do y'all hear that? Listen. They don't want you here because they don't want the numbers. They don't want the numbers. The more of you that are becoming citizens, you vote. But, here's the thing. You don't vote Democratic all the time. So they're afraid. They're making an argument that's kind of stupid. That we're recruiting more of them because you guys are starting to vote conservative, which I don't understand. Don't understand that. All right. So that's what you'll get when you go to Florida. You'll get alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. Detention center for people who are undocumented immigrants. Not the killers. They're putting everybody in these things. So I want y'all to listen to an update from my girl Jasmine, who is my senator from the Texas 30. Let's listen to her update on what's been going on from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Here we go.
So I just wanted to jump on really, really quickly. I know that it's late at night, but there were a few things that I just wanted to talk to y'all about. Number one, how I started my day. So I actually started my day here in DC, where I had to participate, or I decided to go and do my black job, and participate in the deposition of former President Joe Biden's former physician. So the Republicans on oversight called him in for a deposition because they love to waste money on things that are not moving this country forward, on things that will not necessarily make sure that we are not losing over 30,000 jobs a month, or will make sure that we end up kind of stabilizing this economy, or will make sure we get out of the tariff war, or I could just kind of go on, right? Instead, they want to talk about the mental acuity and the physical fitness of the former president while ignoring the ignoramus that is sitting in the White House. So speaking of him, I'm sure y'all saw today how he embarrassed us yet again in the Oval Office. He did not realize that the official language was actually, English. So he's like, oh, your English is so good. And I'm thinking to myself, or maybe it's just because your English is so bad, honey, that you were, so impressed. But nevertheless, in addition to this, we had another ignorant elected person. Yes, the governor of Texas. That's who we had. He decided that he did not want to answer a question about his incompetence. And for those that are paying attention, you would know that under full Republican control, we ended up with the shooting in El Paso, and no legislation was done to prevent another one from happening. Then we ended up with the shooting in Uvalde under the same Republican control, full control, and they did nothing again. We also know that the Republicans had full control as, this particular tragedy has taken place with the floods, where we still have so many people that are missing. And while the governor has called a special session, the main thrust of this special session is all on redistricting. Yes, they are trying to make sure that they can come for our seats. So, with the help of the amazing Attorney General for the United States, who just seemingly always does really good stuff with the law, she decided that she would send a letter saying that there are illegally drawn seats. She just came to this conclusion on her own, some way, somehow, with no law to back her up. And so who did they decide to target in this redistricting? Not one, not 2, not 3, and it's 4. 4 seats, okay? And these 4 seats, they all belong to people of color. 3 seats that are held by African Americans. 1 seat is technically vacant, Texas 18. It was held by Sheila Jackson Lee. It was held by the incomparable Barbara Jordan. It was held by Sylvester Turner. And right now, I don't know if anybody other than Black folk are currently running for that seat. But they've decided that they want to go after that seat. They've decided that they want to go after Al Green. They've decided that they want to go after Mark Vesey. And then the last seat belongs to Sylvia Garcia, a Latina. Yeah, that's what they decided to do. But y'all keep trying to convince me they ain't racist. But okay, whatever. So the way that this is going to work is he has called the legislature back in. They're going to come back in on July 21st. So when they come in on July 21st, on the call, they are supposed to redistrict. And the goal is to decimate those seats. That is the goal. That's not what it said, but that is the goal. And the way that it works in redistricting is every congressional district has to be the exact same amount of people. So what that means is that you can't touch those districts without touching all the districts around them. So everybody's districts are going to change, all so that they can please the one who believes he's only pushing through big, beautiful bills, right? Bills that the American people would love. And I know, with Texas being as red as it is, for sure, Texans would be all on board, and he wouldn't have to worry about, say, maintaining control of the House. Or will he? Because maybe his policies really just aren't that good. And maybe people aren't convinced, no matter how many commercials he runs trying to convince people that this stuff is good. Maybe the truth is finally breaking through. I don't know. But anyway, so that is the goal. So Texas 33, Mark Vesey's district is next to mine. Chances are they're going to be playing with my lines for sure. But they did not say that I was a specific target. So that's that. And then in final news, there have been a lot of questions about what's going to happen in the Senate race in Texas. There have been 2 different polls that have come out that have somehow thrown my name into them. And one of them was released today that the Republicans put into the field, the Republican Senate Committee, allegedly. And allegedly it has me as topping the field for the Senate. Listen, I have been so busy in the House because that's where I am. That's been my focus. Depending on how many people reach out will determine if there's something to actually consider. But as of now, I am proudly serving Texas 30th Congressional District. I just had a town hall tonight. If you're my constituent, I hope you were able to tune in. But it's going to take a lot to flip this state. And if there is a change of heart at any point in time on my end, it will only be because I truly believe that we collectively can get this done. This means raising a lot of money. It means traversing a very, very, very large state. It means connecting and meeting people where they are in a very short amount of time. So it would be a lot to think about. But the first thing that I think anyone who ever runs for office should really consider is, what is it that the people want? Because ultimately you have to be a representative of the people. And I know for sure in Texas 30, my constituents want me there. So we'll listen, maybe. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm focused on making sure that as we head into next week and we deal with this rescission package, potentially, where they are trying to rescind monies that we had allocated out. I'm trying to focus on kind of all the fires that are in front of me. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing night. But I just wanted to update y'all on all of the foolishness that is going on, and to let you know that the Republicans started my day off with some mess with his deposition. But much love to the attorneys that are representing Doc. They are phenomenal. They were great. And I don't think that the Republicans were very happy with the fact that there were actually qualified attorneys on the other side that understand what it is to take an oath and what it is to honor that oath. And so much love to the Doc's amazing legal team. And so sad for the Republicans. Talk to y'all later.
I love her updates. I have to listen with bated breath because she is my congressman. I'm in the Texas 30, so she always gives us updates like that. Does your congressman do that? She gives us updates of what's going on, what's happening. Right now we're dealing with the whole gerrymandering thing that's happening in Texas. So it's very scary. It's very, very scary. So, there's not much that we're going to do. There's not much we're going to be able to do. Listen to one of the guys here who's talking about what California may do to help the Texas situation. Here we go. And he is running for office I think he's running for Sylvester Turner's district for congressman. Here we go. Oh, no, this isn't him.
Hey, so from Georgia. One. So the California governor, Gavin Newsom, has came out today and he is putting Texas on notice. Now, the Texas governor is calling a special session of the Texas legislature to redo the maps for voting in districts. And it's best known as gerrymandering. And what they're wanting to do is turn 4 consistently Democratic seats back to Republican control, so giving the Republicans basically 4 more seats in Washington, D.C. Well, Governor Newsom, in response, has said if they do that in Texas, he's got a legislature that's he's got a 2/3 majority of his party. He will gerrymander like no other state ever and eliminate dozens of Republican seats. Now, California has more congressional districts, folks, than any state in the United States because it goes by population. So Governor Newsom is telling Governor Abbott, if you call the session and you gerrymander those maps, we will follow suit here in California. And remember, they're only talking 4 seats in Texas. The California governor is talking a dozen seats in California. So let's see who blinks first. And by the way, gerrymandering sucks and it should be outlawed.
That was a different guy, but he was talking about the same thing of what Gavin Newsom may be helping us with if they will be successful in Texas. The Texas House is like 70-30. I mean, it's like we can't win anything in the Texas House. It's so sad because that thing is just rigged so that we can't even win races in our own state. It's ridiculous. All right, so here's the guy.
So breaking news, Trump and Greg Abbott are coming after me. They're saying they want to change the lines and gerrymander our district. I wonder why.
Greg Abbott, I got a message for you. Stop being a wuss. Call this special election right now.
This is textbook desperation. It's what Republicans do when they know they've got someone with a spine that's coming after them. But you know what? That's okay. Look at our district. It's already gerrymandered. There's nothing you can do to make us vote Republican. So to Trump and Abbott, make our day. Put up a Republican, and I promise you, we will embarrass any of them that you put our way. Now let's talk about our response. I'm calling for Democratic governors to immediately ditch all plans for independent redistricting commissions. It is time for blue states to gerrymander the living daylights out of any Republicans they have in their states. We have the population advantage, and it's time to play hardball. When we play this game in our big states, we can guarantee that Republicans will never be able to win the House effectively again. And when the Republicans realize they're cornered, they'll have no choice to support our legislation to ban partisan gerrymandering, not just in blue states, but in all 50 states across America. Republicans started this fight. Now it's time for Democrats to finish this fight. Comment, mobilize, and we'll send you a link to show you how you can help.
All right, we're trying to fight fire with fire. We could do this very easy. We could turn all the things, but I hate gerrymandering. It just seems like it should be blatantly against the law. But you have to fight back with it. I mean, if the Republicans have used it very viciously over the years, and it's supposed to be there for a census. That's when you change the district, but all of this changing just to match demographics and just to get, it doesn't seem fair. How is this fair? I don't understand why this is fair. I think the Supreme Court ruled on it once or twice, and so it's been fair. I'm not sure about that, but it seems like that there should be some vote to just get rid of it, period. But who knows how that's going to work. Okay, so now let's talk about the ICE raids, guys. There's been 3 ICE raids. There's been a lot of ICE raids that are going on, and they are horrific to watch. And I just cannot believe of the dishuman or the people that are how they're treating, the inhumane way they are treating these people. At first I was a little upset with Latinos on how they voted, but I wouldn't wish none of this on anybody. And most of these people didn't vote anyway. So I'm like, you're mad at the wrong people, Carl. You should be mad at the ones that were able to vote. So here we go. Listen to some of these outrages of what's going on with the ICE raids. This is a housewife who just realized what's going on. And she's one that doesn't post much, anything but happy stuff. But she went political on us, and let's listen to what she said.
I'm probably going to lose followers for this, but you know what? I have got a pretty significant platform, and I typically don't talk about politics or anything too controversial because my page is about fun, right? I can't keep quiet anymore. I am seeing video after video after video of what these ICE agents are doing to people, what this administration is doing to families. They're all criminals, right? We are deporting the worst of the hardened criminals, right? No. And if you truly believe that in your heart, you really believe that the people that are being deported without due process are the worst of the worst criminals, then I beg you to do some research. Just search on TikTok. Just search #ICE on TikTok. And you will see ICE agents covering their faces and wearing masks and tackling old ladies and running over people in their cars. Like, this is... CBS News just posted a video of these protesters getting run over by ICE agents in a van. What are we doing? I think, sure, if you want to implement stronger border policy, do it. Sure, every other country has strong border policies, right? But to take the action that this administration is taking right now and deporting non-criminals, people that have just been here for decades, that are business owners and, have families and own homes and are just being normal people in this country, are being ripped from their homes and families are being destroyed, and it is sickening. So I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help other than just maybe convince some people that are blinded, that are believing all the lies, to maybe not believe them and really open up your eyes and see what is happening to the people in this country. It's not politics, it is people. And I don't think that all of these illegals are draining our resources so much so that it justifies not treating them like humans. So
there you go. There's a lot of outrage going on with that whole thing, and if you have the chance to watch some of this stuff, guys, nobody's making this up. This isn't sensational. This is happening. It's happening in real time. So listen to this ICE man. ICE apprehend this man. He's speaking in Spanish, so you won't know what he's saying. So those of you that can't see the podcast, he is being held in. I mean, they're holding this man. He's in the middle of a door, and he's just begging and pleading with them, saying that he had ID and this. And I mean, they're just not listening to him. And I felt sorry for the guy. Listen to this in his voice. You can hear what he's going through. They went to his job, and the poor man is pleading with it. Give me my ID, please give me my ID, and they're just manhandling him. I mean, they're going into job. It looks like he worked in a doctor's office or something, and that just hurts me to see that we're treating people this way. These people came here, they came here for better lives. America is America. I've been to some of these other countries, and some of you probably have traveled too. And they don't have the best of conditions, but we in America have always welcomed people. And I know that we need to do it correctly, and they need a right pattern to citizenship, and they need to be done correctly. And most Americans agree with that, but we don't agree with this. We do not agree with how you're doing this. I mean, this is like some underhanded vigilante group snatching people in the middle of the night and everything else, children and old people. This is just, it's not right. So listen to my girl, politics girl. Her name is Lee McCloskey. I think her name is Lee. She's one of my favorites that I come to know during COVID period when she came out. But she's really good at what she does.
Listen, this is going to be hard to watch. I don't even like to watch it myself. I am finding it almost unbearable to see these videos come up on my feed. But we can't just scroll by. We cannot just pretend it's not happening. I want to. I mean, I get it. But here's the thing. This is wrong. This is so wrong. I don't know about you, but I was raised to be kind, to be good. I was taught to love my neighbors as myself, to treat others as you'd like to be treated. I learned from the youngest of ages that people who ask for papers and build concentration camps are the bad guy. And right now, that's our government. This is happening in 2025 America, and it's not okay. And we have to collectively say it's not okay. We have to say it over and over again with our voices and our wallets and our bodies if need be. This cruel and demented administration might be starting this insane and lawless behavior with immigrants, but do not kid yourself, it won't stop with them. This shouldn't be happening to anybody. But if you think you're safe, or your children are safe, or your future is safe in a country that treats people this way, then you are wrong. And the further we allow this to go, the worse it's going to get. We have to stand up against this now, or we're going to get trampled by it for generations. A good nation doesn't have masked assailants kidnapping and beating people in the street. Good people don't just stand by while others scream in terror and pain. We have to stop this, legislatively, in the court of law, and in the court of public opinion. We have to make this behavior publicly abhorrent, and the only way we do that is by not looking away. Do not look away. Look at what they're doing and say stop. Because we need to make this stop.
Yep. That's the first time I really kind of looked at, for those of you that can't see and are just listening to me, she was talking and she was showing scenes of all the different ones. I mean, they actually did some kind of little bomb thing to open up a door, a window, or someone's home, and guess who comes walking out? A woman and her baby. Really? You had to bomb the door open to get a woman and her baby out? This is sad. This is sad stuff. And I don't like it. I don't like it. So, yeah. So that's where we are today, guys. And on the last thing of this podcast, I wanted to talk about how I know you guys hear me talk about all the time. Let me just drink a little water. All the time, how my favorite show is Abby Phillips' The Roundtable Show on CNN. Let me take a little swig of water. And here's the deal. I used to say that I like the little roundtable aspect of having both voices there talking and people from both sides debating and just having talks. But then I started thinking about it. I was listening to Angela Rye. If y'all know Angela Rye, she is a political strategist, and she frequents the Breakfast Club a lot. And she used to be on CNN a lot when Don Lemon was here, but she hasn't been on in a long time. So she showed up on the Round Table, the Abby Phillips show, Newsnight, and she was there, and Kevin O'Leary was there. She had a rough panel, and Angela's very outspoken, if y'all know her. She's a black woman, and she's very smart. She knows politics well. She works very hard in campaigns and everything. She's a progressive type. And she was saying how she didn't miss being on a roundtable show like that, because she goes, it's not really doing any good. It's just a bunch of people sitting here going back and forth at each other. And what good is it doing? She's like, what good is it doing? What good is it doing? We're just sitting here talking to each other, but are we really making change? And then I started thinking about it. She's kind of right, because you look at these shows and you see everybody's giving their points, but is anybody's mind being changed for the American people to get things done? So I had to look back and think about journalists and how mainstream journalism has just changed, and how I don't believe that they're doing the job that they need to do as humans, not as journalists. And I think they're failing America. So I kind of sat down and wrote some things up to end this podcast, a commentary on what I feel that American mainstream news has done, it's doing, or needs to do, because I believe they have failed the American people. So how mainstream news is failing the American people, there was a time when the nightly news felt like a national town hall, a place where facts were sacred and the role of journalism was clear. Inform the public, hold the people accountable, and shine a light on truth. Hold the powerful accountable, I should say, and shine a light on truth. But that mission in many corners of the mainstream media has been diluted, compromised, and in some cases completely abandoned. Today we find ourselves in a media landscape where the obsession with the balance, which I hate, often comes at the expense of truth, and the need to appear neutral overrides the duty to stand firmly on the side of humanity, justice, and democracy. So let's just be honest. Mainstream news is failing the American people. They are. Whether it's climate change, voter suppression, the erosion of civil rights, or the normalization of political extremism, the press continues to frame these deeply moral and existential issues as if they are mere points in a political debate. This is not a debate. This is not a debate. This is not fun TV that y'all are making it. Like we're watching a sport instead of confronting life and death realities. Journalists have been taught to give both sides a voice. I realize that's what you've been taught. But when one side is spewing misinformation, sowing division, or attacking basic human rights, presenting it with equal weight as truth is not balance. It's complicity. Complicity. In this era of disinformation and polarization, the role of the journalist is more important than ever. Not as a detached referee, but as a steward of the public trust. We don't need referees. We need every voice. You're smart people, and y'all are still there playing the middle game, not doing any good. Just a waste of time. The media is not required to stay neutral in the face of hate. They're not required. I don't care what you were taught as journalists. You're not required. You can take a stand. And it seems that the people that are taking the stand are the ones that are getting let go and fired. And sometimes you have to do that. I know you want your jobs and whatever, but standing up for what's right is important, journalists. Now, they are not obligated to platform lies just because someone with the title said to them. They are not responsible for making every issue seem equally valid when one side is rooted in fact and the other is a campaign of distortion. So what is the responsibility of the mainstream media in these times? What do you think? I think it's simple, yet profoundly urgent, to tell the truth without false equivalency. Not all opinions deserve airtime. If you're putting people on that you know they're lying, like Donald Trump, he doesn't deserve airtime. Covering his things, his press conference where he's like, we don't need to cover that. Some news cycles have done that. They have just turned away from it because he's just going to be lying. We don't have to cover him. I don't care if he is the president, but you don't have to do that. And I'm talking to not only the journalists. I know you don't have a lot of power, but I'm talking to you news executives, editors in those rooms. I come from newspaper. I know how stories get to the floor. There's a bunch of you that are in the room making decisions. Not every statement is up for debate. If one side says the sky is blue and the other side it's green, the job of the journalist is not to quote both sides and shrug. It's to look up and report the color of the damn sky. The sky is blue. And if you're allowing somebody to tell you that the sky is green and you're going to listen to them, that's wasting time. To protect democracy, let's not play political games. Covering attacks on democratic institutions like they're just another day in Washington is a disservice to the public. Did y'all hear that? It's a disservice to the public. The media should sound the alarm, not normalize the fire. I like that. To stand for decency and humanity. When policies are harming people, children in cages, citizens stripped of voting rights, families bankrupt by healthcare costs, the media should not be neutral. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? They should be advocates for human dignity and justice. They're there to elevate voices, not just to amplify power. We don't need more panels with paid pundits spinning talking points. We need more stories from everyday Americans whose lives are impacted by the policies being debated behind closed doors. The truth is, journalists do have a moral obligation. They are not robots, nor are they props in some false theater of objectivity. They are human beings with platforms, and that platform comes with responsibility, especially when common decency, truth, and democracy are under attack. To the mainstream media, this is me. The times have changed. The stakes are higher, and history is watching. Do your job. But more importantly, do it right. Yeah. So those are just thoughts on the top of my head that I had put together and written down. And I was just thinking how I'm looking at mainstream news totally different now, because I'm sitting there going, they're not doing any good. As long as you both sides, I don't need to hear when you know that Trump is spewing lies or Republicans are spewing lies and there's no truth to it, why do we have to hear the other side? Get on there. Give me real people who know what this stuff is affecting them. That's truth telling. You don't have to do anything. Just get them there. But what we're doing right now, it's not helping at all. It's putting disinformation out there, and it's causing a podcast mania. I'm one of those who are out here thinking we're telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. I don't ever want to both sides anything. I just want to speak the truth. I'm not giving hate. I'm not giving that the benefit of that. I'm not giving that any energy. I'm not a journalist. But I'm a person who has thoughts, who knows what's right, and I believe that journalists need to step up to the plate. The stakes are higher. I'll say that again. History is watching. Do your job. But more importantly, do it right. Thank y'all so much for joining me on this podcast, episode 33 of Let's Talk with Carl E. Long. I appreciate you joining me, but until we meet again, have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.